Jefferson Robbins with NCW Life. Let's say you're the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust. You manage 27,000 acres of land in both Chelan and Douglas counties. You've just parted ways with your executive director. Who do you call? You might call somebody with about 10 years of experience in that field, your former director, Bob Bugert. Thanks for joining me today, Bob.
Well, thank you for having me, Jefferson.
You are here again after a hiatus. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to the Land Trust, what you did when you left, and what brought you back.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. Yeah. So I am honored to be able to come here and serve in this moment to help the Land Trust start the process of searching for its next executive director. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that. Yeah, as you said, I worked for about 10 years for the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust from about 2007 to 2017, right about there. I then really enjoyed the process of working with the community. I learned so much in that process and enjoyed just the opportunity to meet people, to hear the different facets of our community. And it really became apparent to me that I'd really like to try it at a different level. And so that was when I made the decision with my wife and others to seek running for Chelan County Commission. And I was fortunate to be able to serve then as a County Commission for District 2, which is pretty much the greater Wenatchee Valley come down into town. And it was a tremendous experience, tremendous growth for me. Very rewarding, difficult work, but very rewarding. So then my wife Carolyn and I, we retired come 2023, and I've been doing some volunteer work for different organizations since. And then this came up, and the Land Trust did need some assistance right at this stage. So I agreed to come back and to serve in this capacity for a series of couple months here. And primarily what I'll be doing is to be working with them to set the stage for hiring our next executive director and to really do a pretty robust and thorough search for that.
You don't have long to accomplish any of your goals here, Bob. You have a 4-month agreement with the Land Trust to steer it on an interim basis. So in 4 months, what kind of markers are you hoping to achieve?
Well, the primary thing that we'll be doing right now is working to set up a search committee for our executive director. We just had a board meeting last night where we do have a wonderful consulting firm based out of Seattle, Clover Searchworks, that will be doing a lot of the groundwork for us in our national search that we will have. And they were wonderful enough that they are providing a great bulk of the service pro bono for us because they feel strongly about the ethic and the mission of the Land Trust. So we're grateful for that. So we'll be setting up, I just started actually today, working on our rubric for what kind of skills, qualifications, and core competencies, I guess you'd call it, for what we want to see in an executive director. We really think that it will be a national search, Jefferson, but we really want to pay special attention to seeking out folks from within this general area, within the region, that there's having that understanding of the culture and the vibe and the relationships is really important. That I know during my tenure here, the 10 years that I served as director, that really the developing relationships with landowners, with donors, with community leaders is paramount, and that we really want to place as a special consideration in our search. So again, it's a national search, but I am really going to be reaching out to the community to see if there's anybody here that would be interested, that has the skills, the demeanor, the leadership skills to be able to take the Land Trust to the next level.
Because it's the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust, and Chelan-Douglas describes a community, anybody who's from here can sort of tell you our concerns are specific, our feelings toward the land are specific, the ways we use and engage with the land are pretty specific.
Yeah, if anything, you learn real quickly when you work at the Land Trust that people are really tied to their land. They love their land. It is a part of their being. And so to be able to have that kind of understanding and ability to relate to them at that level is really important. And so that's a special consideration that we have.
Did your role as an elected representative, Bob, do you think it's changed your perspective on the needs of the Land Trust or how the Land Trust's missions could be established or could be met?
Yeah, I think so. That this is a community that really we are a diversifying economy. And it's really interesting to really explore that and to see how the Land Trust views itself within that economy, and that we are still very much an agricultural-based economy here, but there are other facets that are very important, and that we need to be mindful of that. I think also that some of the forest practices that are getting to be increasingly important, we need to be very mindful of. We have a lot of forested lands ourselves, and so we are really adopting some of the best practices that are being now established. And there's a lot of things related to how to make your lands more resilient to climate change. And we've had some great work done by some of our top-notch scientists within the region to really come up with some recommendations for us. So that's pretty important to us, and so we'll be incorporating that.
You came from a science background before you joined the Land Trust. You were a fisheries biologist,
Yes.
and you contributed some of that expertise as a volunteer with the Land Trust before joining it as director. So, do you think that an incoming director should have some kind of science, wildlife acumen, some kind of plant biology acumen? Would that be helpful in the
It
position?
would certainly be helpful, but it's not necessary. I think really good organizational skills, really good people skills, really good public speaking skills are important. You can learn a lot of the things. I came in not knowing very much, Jefferson, about how to construct a conservation easement, which is a legally binding document, how to create and craft that, how to negotiate it with the landowner to make sure their needs are met, but also to ensure that conservation values are protected. There are folks on the Land Trust staff and volunteers that have that legal and real estate background that quickly brought me up to speed, so I can at least be conversant. I wasn't an expert, but I was conversant in that. And I think that's also a situation for a lot of the natural resource sciences, that to become conversant is important, and we can work with people as far as getting there. But it's really those people skills that are so very important.
Land Trust Director is sort of a project manager kind of role, I think, in that you have agreements and programs that you're trying to push forward, and sometimes they move by inches,
Yes.
and sometimes they take great leaps forward.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and so it really is to work at the pace of the landowner, so that we make sure that they are satisfied and that their goals are realized. A lot of these, they do take many years, perhaps a decade.
Did you expect to return to the Land Trust, Bob? I mean, when you left the county commission, you were looking toward retirement, and you said, this is my path from here on out.
So I had plans to volunteer for the Land Trust. Really what spoke to me was to be able to be one of the work crews out in the field, working on trails, managing things like that, actually use my hands. But right at this time, this was the most pressing need, and I could provide some service in any way I can here. And I'm just fortunate that I do have good and positive relationships with the board, with the staff here, and with a lot of the donors that have been so very good to us through the years.
Well, you could have said no. You could have said no, so why say yes?
This organization means a lot, to me. And I just want to make sure it's successful. And I'm confident, totally confident of that. Now that I'm here, now that I've seen what they've got going on, I'm quite confident. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite spot among the properties that the land trust owns or oversees?
Boy, I love the White River. You know, that I certainly kayak that every year. That is something, a must-do in my realm, that's for sure. And you know, there's some families up there, like the Gray family, that they love that land. They've been there for multiple generations, and it's just really neat to touch bases with them on their land and to have them tell stories, what they got going on. And we got lots of examples like that, Jefferson, of people that truly love their land, and it's a big part of their being, and that they are coming to us to help them to realize their long-term goals. So it's neat to see. Yeah.
People come to the Wenatchee Valley and to Chelan and Douglas counties in large part because of the natural beauty of it.
Yeah.
The more of us who come here, the more we put that kind of beauty at risk. Do you see the land trust's role as being a way to conserve the land kind of in situ as it was found? Or is the mission broader and deeper than that?
Oh, it's broader and deeper, certainly. Yeah, that some of the lands that, you know, we've got some tremendous dryland ranches up in Douglas County area that are really actively managed, and that's the way the landowners want it to be. And so it's pretty neat to see, so we can help them in that whole process, realize that by using conservation easements as a tool for them to diversify their income source off of that land and to provide the assurance that they need that the land will be managed in that way, really fulfills a lot of their goals. And so I think there's other lands that by their very nature, we manage them for outdoor recreation. Some of the Wenatchee foothills are great examples of that. And you know, our big goal there, Jefferson, all along has been to make it as totally accessible as it can be for everybody, regardless of their economic status, their background, where they live, really to have the hope, and we're fulfilling that hope of having an access point within 10 minutes of anybody's home here within the community. So it is readily available regardless of your background or economic status. So it's managed that way. And so that's a big part of what we're raising funds for. We've got some great work going on with our partner organization, TREAD, to really looking at strengthening and diversifying our funding strategy for managing those lands, because they are hugely popular. As I don't know if you've been out on the foothills in a fine April morning, it is booming, and but they're almost being loved to death. And so we are really coming up with ways that we can better manage and make sure that the trails are in tip-top shape, so that just those areas that are used by people are being accessed and not going elsewhere. And so that's an important thing that we're doing. So we're diversifying and strengthening our funding there. We're also opening up a lot of new lands for outdoor recreation to kind of spread the wealth, if you will, give people more opportunities, more options. We've got some very generous donors that really worked with us for Cashmere Canyons, which is a remarkable piece of property just right outside of Cashmere, up a Hay Canyon, Naham Canyon area that is now available for hikers during certain times of the season. And we've got other areas up around Leavenworth that we're looking at right now that we've got opportunities for. And a lot of that is you know, really specifically based on, it is protection and good sound management of shrub steppe habitat, but it is also making sure that people have opportunities to get out. And another thing that the Land Trust is really doing, hope I'm not going on too much here,
Please.
is that, some people just don't have the opportunity to get out. And so we've got some great staff here that are really creating new ways to appreciate the natural world. They're just starting up a book club for people to really have discussion groups and to read books about reverence for nature and for the just the diverse ways that one can appreciate nature. So we're looking at different groups like that and opportunities, because for many people that the outdoor world can be a spiritual thing as well. And so to create opportunities for that. A lot of partnerships that we've got going on related to that.
Well, the climate crisis is a real thing, Bob, and agencies like yours, organizations like yours, kind of put themselves on the front lines of that, I think. You are maybe seen as, well, by conserving land, I can defend against the encroachment of climate, or by keeping land as it is, we can do our local part to head that off. Does the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust sort of see itself in that way in terms of stewardship?
Yes, yeah. So we've got some great work that Dr. Bill Gaines and Dr. Paul Hesberg and many other scientists have really come up with some really great recommendations on some of the criteria that we should be using for protecting and restoring lands. And so a lot of those are related to what are the needs of salmon, steelhead, and invertebrates to look at what should be saved and what should be protected. And that really helps us to make some informed decisions about some of our land management opportunities there. We really want to be quite strategic in those lands that we select in our work plan to make sure that they do have good conservation values, and so that we can use the donations and the grants that we receive in the best, most practical, most efficient use possible.
Bob Bugert, Interim Director with the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust. Thanks a lot for letting us come by and talk to us.
Thank you, Jefferson. I really do and enjoy it. Yeah.
You're watching the NCW Life channel.